This setup has literally replaced a Ned Rig for me, and I have had so many viewer requests for this video. I mention off and on through other videos that I'm using something called a Jig Rig, and folks are always asking, what is that? I am not sponsored by this company that makes this. I don't get any income or payment for this, not even any commissions. I use this because I love it that much, and it works so much better than a traditional Ned jig head. And we'll be looking at underwater footage of this so you can see firsthand what it does so well. At first glance, it looks like a Jig Rig, and essentially it is, but a lot smaller. You can see how small this is. It consists of a hook, a ring, a swivel, and a clip weight. And yes, you can buy the individual components and make your own, which is cheaper than buying these already made. The original Ned Rig setup was born on the highland reservoirs of the Ozarks. Those lakes have lots of rock. In that type of environment, the traditional Ned Rig jig head works great. No complaints. But a Ned Rig with these tiny little stick baits are so effective, and we know that they work in all sorts of situations, not just rocky environments. But the open hook or even the wire guard versions of traditional Ned hooks have lots of limitations. Of course, vegetation and wood being the two biggest problems. But many lakes also have a mucky or soft bottom composition as well, and it is a pain to constantly be cleaning off a regular jig head. This Jig Rig setup all but eliminates those issues, and when using the traditional Elastec plastics, the lure still stands up, just like with the regular Ned Rig jig head, but we get the added benefits of the Texas rigged hook. The weights are clip-on and easily replaced if you want something heavier or lighter, which is really nice. It saves you time retying when you want to change weights. You can fish deeper or shallower with a quick weight replacement. And what really got me into using this is I was fishing an area of the lake last year that had lots of small sticks and twigs everywhere. My Ned Rig was getting caught on this constantly. I switched over to this setup and never had a problem with the sticks the rest of the day. Many of you that have watched this channel know that my favorite way to present a Ned Rig, or most finesse soft plastics, is to slowly drag them, keeping bottom contact. This excels in those situations, especially where the bottom has muck and debris all over. The hook point doesn't get hung on this stuff. Sure, the bottom of the rig could and will, but the lure is still doing its job, and that's the important thing. Even with a weed guard, a regular Ned jig head will often grab this bottom debris and make your fishing by far less efficient. And when conditions call for using a super finesse presentation like this, efficiency is important. We don't want to waste a large portion of the retrieve because we are constantly dealing with junk hung all over our baits. Now, this is actually a rockfish setup by Verivas. Saltwater anglers have used these for a long time. The hook is the rock-on ring gritter, and the weight is the TG grenade sinker. This hook setup comes in sizes number 3, number 2, number 1, and also 1/0, 2/0, and 3/0 versions. Now, when you get those bigger hooks, now you're in that size range of the traditional Jig Rig many of you are familiar with. I specifically stay with the small versions since I fish this exactly where I would normally use a traditional Ned Rig. The weights come in 10 different sizes, everything from 1/32 of an ounce to 3/4 of an ounce. The weights that I have here can range anywhere from $7 to $11 depending on the size, and the smaller sizes are either sold in 4 or 3 packs, and the hooks will run you about $6 for a 4-pack. As I mentioned earlier, you can definitely build your own for less. And hey, if you want to watch a video that talks about search baits and the way we need to think about them in regards to angles and different ways to present them before we get out on the water, go ahead and check this one out right here, and make sure that you go out and encourage someone today. You never know how you might just change their life. For the Bass Fishing Life, I'm your host, Steve Rogers.